broad subject, but we're going to take you through, I hope, an experience. So first, what we're doing right now, the welcome and the introduction. Then if you can move back to the agenda slide.
Yeah. You want to
Then
move
just a presentation of Catherine and myself, your
Sorry.
two hosts for the day. Then we have some content for you on how to facilitate a virtual meeting, expect, prepare, and engage. Then we have a little break. Then we'll go to breakout sessions where you will work together in groups. After that breakout session, you can share and exchange what you have discussed during this breakout. And then we'll have some we answer some questions and we have a little survey. For the good process of this meeting, we will ask you to mute yourself, and you can type whenever you feel like it your questions in the chat box, and we will take them at the end of the meeting.
Great. So first of all, we would be really happy to know how you are all doing. So this is a question for you. How are you doing? And I will show you the screen I want to show. It's a Metimeter. I don't know if you ever had the opportunity to work with Metimeter. And of course, that's when it's not working. When you say it's supposed to work, you always have to check things in advance. And we will teach you to check things in advance, which we did, of course. But the moment it's supposed to work, it's not working. 1 second, please. We are always saying, I'm sorry, I lost it. I had it 2 minutes ago.
So the idea is here to get your feeling about how you're doing today. This is also a CISV thing. I think we often do that when we start a meeting, a face-to-face meeting, as well as a digital meeting recently with the coronavirus situation. We try to understand how everybody is in the meeting is doing, and that is the aim of this Metimeter. Do we have it now?
I hope so. I have it. I just don't manage to.
What
Here
we
it
can
is.
do is, yeah, here it
You should have
is.
it. Nearly. You want it to be. Ah. So you can already go to Meti on your computer or phone if you want. And then you introduce the code 800246 that you see on.
I will put the code also in the chat. I will put the link. So
And
the link
start.
and the code in the chat for you. Here you go. So how are you today? What we want you to do is to, in one word, give us a feeling of how you do today. So if you can put that in the Mentimeter, we'll give you a few minutes for that.
Tired, happy, lazy. What else? You can put 2, 3 words and then you have to put exhausted, challenged, stressed. I hope not too stressed.
No, don't stress, don't stress. It's a fun activity.
So as you can see, and you can keep on using the system if you want. As you can see, this is a way you can use to engage with your participant as from the beginning of the meeting. It's supposed to work more easily than it did today. When you are having a meeting online, on remote, it's sometimes difficult, certainly if you have a bigger group, to engage with your participant quite quickly. So you need to find ways to have the opportunity to give the opportunity to all your participants to say something about themselves or to present themselves. So you could have this question. You could also have a question asking what their expectations are for the meeting. So you can have that input, or a question about where they're coming from. Since we are in CISV, could also be very interesting to see where you all come from. The more people use one word, the bigger the word is going to be. So I'm very happy to see that you are happy, most of you, because that is the main word in the presentation. We'll keep this for us, and for later, we'll keep this image. So back to the presentation. The reason why it is so important to engage with your participants as the beginning of the meeting is, as I said, if you are working remotely with your participants, they don't have the opportunity to have those usual coffee breaks they might have in a daily life at work. And they might miss that. And it's important for them to have those little moments where they can chit chat between themselves and have a little bit of relaxation. But it's a way to connect people with people. We often want to start a meeting very quickly, but the first thing you have to do starting the meeting is give the opportunity to people to connect and to feel validated by them having the opportunity to talk. If you have a bigger meeting, a lot of people, you do that using those tools like Metimeter or other tools. If you have a smaller meeting, a smaller group, you could do an opening round asking the people, well, maybe how are you feeling today? What is your level of energy? What is the competency you want to use in the meeting today? Or maybe if today you were a movie, which movie would it be? Representing your mood of the day. If
And in
people don't,
sorry, in certain tools, in certain technologies, you can also use GIFs. That's something that I use often when I start a meeting, is to ask the audience to put in a GIF on a certain subject, which can be a lot of fun as well.
Sure. If people don't know each other and the intention is that they learn to know each other, and Mel will smile because she knows the question I love to ask as an introduction is, tell something to the rest of the group about your shoes or about your key holder. And it's very interesting. You learn a lot about the people when you ask them to tell something about their own shoes. So this is always important to take that time to really connect with your group. But who are we? I myself, Catherine, I'm CISVer. This is my first CISV experience, a picture of my first CISV experience in my national costume. It was back in 1982. I'm probably one of the people in the meeting today who has the longest CISV present, not experience, because I didn't stay all my life in CISV. I left after my seminar camp and I came back as a parent wanting to volunteer a little bit, and then ended up to be president of one of the chapters and mainly in the program team. I have a big CISV family. This is a picture taken last year with all the kids of the family coming back from camp. So you had 2 villagers, a youth meeting, step up, JC and seminar camp, and they were just. It was the first day they were all home. They're not all my kids. 3 of them are mine, and the other are nephews and things like that. We are a CSV family, quarter Belgian, quarter French, quarter Greek, quarter Spanish. So if you are at our place, you hear all the languages together. We're a big mix. And professionally, I'm a psychologist, coach, trainer, facilitator, and mindfulness instructor. And I love the mountains and I love the rolling hills. I love the flowers and I love the daffodils. That was my first CISV song and my first words in English that I learned when I was 11 before going to a village.
And so now you're stuck with the music in your head for the rest of the evening. Great.
Please enjoy.
So,
Javier.
hi, I'm Fabienne. So I've been in CISV, as you can see, for a long time. I'm originally from Luxembourg. I live in Brussels. So I've now become a Belgian CISV, although my most of the years I spent in CISV up to now were in Luxembourg. So I went to a village in Costa Rica. I had several interchanges, as you can see, and I was a leader also at an interchange. I was a GC. In Belgium, in CISV Belgium, I work with Catherine in as the secretary of the chapter, but I'm also heading up the communication team. I love to be kitchen stuff, and my oldest daughter has gone to several program, has attended the village, youth meetings, etc. In my professional life, I'm a customer experience consultant. I work in digital and in digital marketing on pharmaceutical projects right now. I love to cook, to travel, and spend time with my friends and volunteer, which mostly in CISV I can combine both. So that's really, really nice experience.
Thank you, Fabienne. So a question for you, and I would like to know what do you expect when you are guiding an online meeting? What would be the challenges you could meet? And maybe you can answer in the chat if that's okay for you. A few words about your challenges, what you find difficult, maybe what we would call a flop of one of your last online meetings. We would be curious to read about those experiences you can share with us. And you can just put those information in the chat. Technical issue, yeah? Just
yes.
come on now, Mel. You're right.
I hope it's not now, Mel. Are you still with us?
What else?
Yeah, okay.
Engage with participants, Lolo.
Yeah, keeping people engaged. Yeah, interesting. Interactivity. Yeah. Interact.
Get everyone to participate. And indeed interact with people. It's indeed important to engage with the full of the group, but also to talk to people individually, to call them by their name at some point and to keep that interaction, but also to create interaction in between them when possible. And indeed, besides that, you need to share relevant information. Is anyone comfortable sharing their biggest flop? Something
that went wrong.
That went really, really wrong? So you can
Well, I think
raise
we all
the.
have this situation where we're not comfortable because it's not going by plan. I mean, that's normal. That also happens in face-to-face meetings.
Mm-hmm. Lolo from Chile, you say rapport.
Yeah,
What do
Yasho
you mean?
mentioned establish a strong rapport. Rapport.
Ah, okay, good. So indeed, these are all the challenges that you need to know that might happen during the meeting, or well, the technical, well, the difficulty to engage people. But there are ways that you can prevent at least a little bit those challenges. Never completely, but still a little bit. For example, one of the things it's interesting to do, and we didn't do it here, but just for your information, I'm saying it now. It might be that my internet connection goes down. That was one of my last flop. I was running a meeting, and then all of a sudden I say, "Oh, everybody's freeze." When everyone is freeze, you are the one to be freeze. It's not the other ones. And so I was ejected from the meeting. So you need to agree in advance what to do if someone is ejected from the meeting, if yourself are ejected from the meeting. In this case, just come to the same meeting. We will still be there, and maybe have different people in the meeting that can take over the hosting and facilitation of the meeting. Good.
Yeah, so what to expect from an online meeting? I think that's very important to touch on that specific subject. I mean, it is different from an in-person meeting. We all know that. Most of us had a lot of digital meetings recently. Even sometimes when I had like a WhatsApp video conference with my family or with my friends, it felt awkward. There are moments of silence, moments of overlapping conversation. I mean, using the chat in tools like Zoom or Teams or whatever technology you use is very useful when you have attendees. Of course, if it's private meetings, then you all speak and there will be more overlapping, but hopefully less awkward moments happening. But when you have to present and yeah, you want to share content, you want to share experiences, it's very important that you get used to the tools that you want to use, and you need to know that it's different. It will always be different than a face-to-face meeting, because you don't see sometimes you don't see people's faces, people see your presentation, etc. So you need to, I think that it's important that it feels differently than from a standard face-to-face meeting. The most important, and here we go a bit into tips and tricks, I would say. Also in this meeting, we won't give you everything, but surely we will share what we know and also give you some links so that you can watch more videos about the subject if you're interested. So the preparation is key. Be technically fluent, know the tools by heart, test them a lot on your own with somebody else. It's really important, the testing, test again. And even if you test, you won't avoid that some situations will happen that are outside of your control, I would say. Be familiar with all features. Most of the technology that we use, being it Zoom or Teams, have different kind of features you can use. Breakout rooms, you can use chat functionality, GIFs. You can use all different kind of features. And when you set up your presentation, it's important that you think, okay, what is my objective in this presentation, and how can I make it interactive by using the digital tools that I have? Because obviously it is a bit different than if you meet people face to face. The three things you have to be really keeping in your mind is hardware, connectivity, and software. Hardware, why? Is your computer plugged in? Even if you think, well, my battery is full, you never know what will happen. So plug in your computer. Maybe sometimes it's easier to have and doesn't look as nice if you have Bluetooth, but to have a cable connected to your headset. For me, because one of my flops was often when suddenly um, my Bluetooth headset that was hiding nicely in my ears stopped working because the battery was out. So that's one other thing. And then the software. Is the software up to date? Is it working correctly? So even if you're using it many hours a day, make sure that you test it again before you start the meeting. And then, yeah, obviously the engagement. We saw it in the chat. A lot of people say, yeah, how do I engage with my audience? How do I keep it interactive? Well, using the tools and making it interactive is one way, of course, to do it. But you need to have content that adds value. That's always the same in communication. If the content doesn't add value, you can do as many things around it. It will not. It will at the end of the day not help. First of all, to sell your webinar, and secondly, to get the attendees interact. Predefined desired outcome. What is the outcome of my meeting? Why am I having this meeting? Why do I ask people to join? Well, in this case, because I want to share, and we have some best practices, we have some tips and tricks that I'm sure in this day and age can really help a lot of people in different kind of meetings. Set clear expectations. I think I mentioned it in the beginning of the meeting. I will not or we will not teach you everything today about how to do the ideal, I don't know, Hollywood webinar today, but a few tips and tricks that you will keep in your mind. As always, from any communication that you get, you will retain only 30%. So I hope that this 30% that you will keep today will be really useful for your next webinars. And then create an agenda that is appealing, and that when the attendees join the meeting, they don't think, oh my God, I will have to spend 1 hour with these people. What a loss of time. No, no, no. You are happy to spend an hour with us because we're going to have a lot of fun.
We hope so. So many promises. So when facilitating online, you might use a lot of slides and present slides. Pay attention to those slides. Try to keep them as clean as possible. A slide with a lot of text and no picture might be as boring as cows in the field. So you need to have something that is nice to see and that invite also to keep the attention and listen to the person who is facilitating. Check the camera, see how is your look, pay attention to your background, see if you're not all dark because the light is coming from the back, so people can't see you and can't read your lips or see your eyes. It's important they can see you. I always suggest that you can put, maybe for example, I'm a little bit too close to the camera, a hand above your head to have the limit of the screen, which is a challenge for me because then I can't read my screen because I need glasses. But so check your background if you can. On with some computers and with some tools, you can put a virtual background. It's not always easy. It's not always ideal, but check your environment. Avoid, whenever possible, the most possible, to have people walking behind you, to have the kids playing with Lego or whatever, because you will not have the attention of the attendees. They will look more about your interior and your family than listen to the meeting. During the meeting, show your leadership skills. You are always the one, if you're facilitating the meeting, to conduct the process. You might let go on the content, and we often would suggest that the one who is facilitating do not specifically enter into the content, because you need to be really facilitating and pay attention to keep the process going out. So invite people to talk in circular mode, ask every person at one time to take the word, and address people individually. It might be that you have the feeling someone is not saying something. He might want to say something. He might have an idea but doesn't feel very comfortable sharing that idea, or doesn't feel that he may share the idea. So very different moments, ask the persons that are in the meeting, do you have another question? And name them by their name. Is there something you want to know more? Is there another question? And that is also about encouraging your participants. And doing that, you also need to stay on track in the meeting. You need to check the time and to check that we're not spending too much time on some subjects than on the other. Always, ideally, end the meeting with an action plan and with the next step. So what we agreed on is that we're going to do this, and to recap all the decisions that were taken and all the tasks that the different participants in the meeting have to fill in after the meeting. So we would like to share with you, so the technical aspect, we would like to share with you a video. So I will stop sharing for a few minutes and coming back to share.
So what we want to do with this video is, as I mentioned, we're not going to cover everything in this hour today. So what we will do afterwards is provide you with some links of LinkedIn Learning. That's what we're going to share right now, where you have some nice courses that are free, where you can watch small videos where they give you more details on how to facilitate virtual meetings.
I'm trying to share the right screen because I was on the wrong screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the sound?
Yeah.
There's no sound. Do you hear the sound? I'm the only one not hearing it.
So,
no, even we cannot hear.
No.
You didn't hear it?
No, we can't hear the sound.
Okay, one moment. I was hearing it quite well. But, what's happening?
So when you have technical issues,
it's probably because it's in my wait.
To facilitate means
no. Yes, here we go.
Since virtual meetings can be hard.
It's gone again. So, yeah, don't put yourself on mute, Katrien. Good catch, Lolo. Thank you.
One can
One
always
last
count
try,
on
or we
Lolo
skip it.
to see that.
To facilitate means to make easier. And clearly, since virtual meetings can be hard, if you can learn how to make them easier, we can get far better results. As important as effective facilitation is in regular meetings, it's even more important and misunderstood in virtual ones. Here are some tips to help you get more interaction and better outcomes. Wait longer for input. In a face-to-face meeting, people get clues from each other visually if they're going to say something. When a meeting is done virtually, these cues and clues don't exist. Even webcams don't solve it completely. So if you want people's contributions, pause. Give them more time to share, and you'll be rewarded with more input. Call on people. Because people don't want to step on top of each other or interrupt someone else, it may be helpful to invite them to comment individually. Use questions effectively, not as a weapon. You know what I mean. In school, the question got asked followed by your name, and you might be caught not paying attention. You'll be more effective if you mention the name first and then ask your question like this: Susan, so what are your thoughts on this issue? Be more specific. By asking for specific input or asking specific questions, you set people up to succeed and improve the chance you get a response rather than simply asking if anyone has a comment or question. Create feedback loops. In general, give people ways to interact with each other more naturally. The virtual meeting can make this harder. So as a facilitator, you may need to ask more questions and ask others to make sure everyone understands what is being discussed and decided. Notice that all of these are suggestions about the process of the meeting and not the content. That is on purpose because facilitation is about how we are accomplishing something, not what we are accomplishing. The best meetings are ones where people feel comfortable sharing their thoughts and ideas. Besides, no one wants to be in
We're
the meeting.
starting again.
Silence.
Yeah, I know. He's so talkative.
He's very talkative.
Incredible.
But so what I will do at the end of the meeting is we will provide you with the presentation, but also with the links to a few courses on LinkedIn Learning that are very useful, like this one, that are short and very efficient.
Yeah. I wanted to say something, but I forgot. Okay, it's okay. So what we would like you to do now, I don't know why the guy is back. He really is. What we would like you to do now is to take a very short break of 5 minutes. Sorry, a short break of 5 minutes. Those 5 minutes, we will ask you to really think about, to stand up first of all, and to maybe walk a little bit around the room you are in, and to think about the best place you would like to be right now. So accept your house, which is probably the very best place, but beside your house, what would be another really best place that you would like to be? So we would invite you to do that during a few minutes. Take a real break. It's something past 11. In Belgium, 8 past 11, but probably very different in all the countries we are now. So we will get back here and resume at 16 past 11, 16, at something 16, okay? So be back in 5 minutes. If you want, you can stay in the room. I will stop sharing so you can talk to each other, but take also at least one moment to stand up, to really move your body. Okay? See you in a few minutes.
I hope that everybody got up, stretched their legs.
Did we? They're back. Hello.
Hello again.
Hello.
This is something I learned recently during Corona times, is to have breaks in digital meetings.
Yes. And even more than in real meetings, more frequently, you really, after 45 minutes, it's already difficult to concentrate, but after 45 minutes, something like that, people really lose the attention and get headache. So that is why you really have to pay attention to those breaks moments. And the reason why we were asking you to stand up, it needs to be a real break. My kids, when they're doing a break, they are on their mobile phone. That is not a break, because your brain is still challenged by all the visuals you can see. So it's important to let your brain go free, dream a little bit. And that's why we were asking you, what was the place you would like to be just right now, the perfect place for you? And we would be so happy to see that, to read those places in the chat. If you're happy to share your dream, where you were dreaming of. If you're happy to share with us.
Cartagena, beach, Thailand, mountain, going back to camp. Thank you, Mel.
You're right, Mel.
The beach, oh yeah. Atlantic coast in France, nice one. In a hammock on a warm beach, yeah. I can share that. It's raining outside, it's cold. Anywhere but without kids.
That's not me. It was not me.
Yeah, it was not you. I can share that. It was great. Yeah, I can share that.
Great.
Okay, let's move on.
Let's move on. So just feel, and we really hope you felt the importance of the break, and you felt how it refreshes the mind to stand up, to do something you can do with your group, a little bit of exercise, maybe on the screen, that's all okay, or make them sing. That will really help them to afterwards reconcentrate in the meeting.
And one last funny one. In the last meeting I was a 2-hour meeting. The facilitator asked us to get something read in the room, so that way we we all had to get up and get something read. So that was fun as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, and in one of the meetings I had, we had to go for a walk and come back with a picture. So we had a 10 minutes walk. In Belgium, we can go out now. We had a 10 minutes walk, and we had to come back with a picture on the mobile. So it obliges you to do something and to move, and it's important. So we would like now to split you in breakout rooms. You are the one who are going to work. We are going to divide you in, I believe, 3 breakout rooms, something like that. And we're going to do that during 5 minutes. It's written 10, but it's going to be 5. And in the group, we would be happy you to share your CISV story, what makes you a CISVer, and you can maybe make a slide of it, have someone making a slide, you can put pictures on it, you can put words on it, you can put names on it, countries, songs, whatever. to make something together in those 5 minutes that represents your CISV life, or what is CISV for you, and then having in each group one presenter that will present your work in a 2 minutes time to the rest of the groups.
You don't have to make it a nice slide, just put on some pictures or words, and that will be great.
Yeah, it will touch our hearts in any ways. Whatever you put on that slide, it will touch our hearts. To do that, we're going to put you in breakout rooms. The computer is going to do that for us. There is a question. No, so as a group, Milan, but the slide is going to be shared. So we're going to make 3 rooms, I said. So you're going to get an invitation to go in the rooms. So you just have to accept the invitation. I need to stop sharing, that's the thing. To accept the invitation, and so you can go, and we will call you back in a few minutes. Okay, 5 minutes. Okay, so you accept. If anything, you can come back in the main room just by clicking somewhere on your screen. There is a click too, or to call Fabienne or myself. Let's go. Have fun.
It works.
It works. Of course it works. I just want to see if, I guess everybody did join.
No?
In like general, it's just like, it's like you said, it's like positivity, and it's something nice to be part of and like work to inspire other people.
So as you see, I'm sorry, Milan, can I have a word just to share? As you see, as a facilitator, I can come in your room and you could ask me question. You can also call me to invite me in your room if you have a question. It's just to show you that it's possible to do that. And don't forget to maybe make a slide or have something to share after with the rest of the group. I let you work. Bye.
And it's very much like the glasses with which I see reality. It has had a huge imprint on my life. And I quit CISV for a while. I got married, I became a mom, and now I'm back as a CISV parent. So in total, it's been 16 years with CISV, and now I'm hoping to go for more years.
Just, sorry, I interrupt a little bit, just to show that it's possible for me to come in the room and to see if everything is going well, and I can go back in the main room, and you can also call me. Just don't forget to make something to present to the rest of the group, because we're curious. Okay. See you later.
Thank you for spying on us.
I did record everything. Pose, huh? You abandoned your team.
So can you please reassign me to team number 1?
But they're coming back.
They're coming back. We close the rooms now.
You just pulled me out of my team.
We close everybody coming back.
I was so confused.
Okay. We should have let them know. Something to learn. A learning of today. People are pulled back out of the team.
But
now they are.
It's written on their screen, huh? You didn't
see that.
It's written. You can read it. Comes as a message. So just for your information, so as you can see, you can join as a facilitator. You can go to those different rooms. You can have an interaction. You can make people move from room to room. Someone comes to me, Mel's come to me and says, I really cannot work with Fabienne. It's horrible to be with her in the room. I can change the room for Mel. That's never a problem. We can also send a message to the breakout room, a visual message, reading message that you can read. We are curious to see your piece of art. Is anyone willing to share?
Let's go to breakout room 1 maybe, so we keep it. So who is presenting for breakout room 1? You didn't know in which room you were, maybe?
Mel. Okay.
Yes, actually, it was super quick. Like the time we just say hi, hello, where I'm from. We had.
Yeah.
So I had Grit from Germany with us. She started CSV 25 years ago. I don't know if I have to present or just like say this, like put the slide on, or
maybe the main things.
The main things that we have like very long-term CSVer, as well as brand new, super overly motivated people.
And something that touches the group is CSV, a memory, something in your heart.
Grit was actually telling us a story about it. Then we had to go back to the to the main rooms.
Yeah, like 5 minutes is really short. It's just to show you that we can create breakout rooms. You also saw us appear in the breakout room. So as a facilitator, you can go and join breakout rooms. You can stop breakout rooms. So it was really just to give you an idea on how that works.
And for your information, we cannot hear your breakout room if you don't see us, or we are in and we hear you, or we are out and we don't hear you. So we're not spying on
what you are doing. Yeah.
Once I had that question, can you spy us? Never tried. Team 2, group 2.
Okay, so as well, we didn't have like that much time to do like a slide with all the pictures and everything, but here is something of what we did. Wait, let me 1 second. Can you see it?
Beautiful.
Wow.
So it's just like what we talked about is like the positivity that CISV brings into our lives and like the sense of belonging. So yeah.
It is very beautiful. You see, in a very short time, you can do something.
Yeah.
Thank you. Group 3.
Nice.
I did a photo bomb.
You're mute, I believe. Who is talking?
There, me, sorry. I didn't realize I was on mute. We kind of just took a picture of all of us and talked about like how long we've been involved. I've been doing it since Village, and then I moved to Vancouver, and so I joined the chapter here, and I've been a leader for the Vancouver chapter. And then Felix did a Village in '93, and he's been in CISV since then, and now he just wants for his kids to be able to go CISV once they turn 11. And then Marcela got involved in 2018, and she's a volunteer and the volunteer coordinator for CISV Peru.
Great, thank you. So coming back, the interest of, we were talking about how to involve people doing those breakout rooms, will really invite them, and don't make them too big, invite them to participate with one question or two questions and to come back. Usually you use a little bit more time, of course, but you understand, I guess, the concepts.
Yeah, and we're running a bit late. So you probably noticed, we're not very good at keeping track of time. But thank you very much for staying, and we'll just do the next slides in the next 5 minutes and close off. So
may I just ask a question? If there is a question about using the breakout rooms, or another question about how to engage people, just feel free to ask if you want. Maybe raise your hand. Or unmute yourself, because I can't see everyone. You can, for example, raise your hand as a comment, and so we can see it in the participant thing. But it seems to be there is no question. Okay, so just a little bit information about the Truth Project. Probably most of you, or some of you, know what it is about. I could ask Lolo to share, to talk. You want? You can say no. So it's an international collaboration between 3 countries. It started as a very baby project, something small, between CISV, Belgium, Chile, and Germany. And little by little, it took more and more space and time and envergure, I would like to say. So between the 3 countries, we're mainly exchanging delegation, staff, leaders, but mainly staff and information, and inviting each other to trainings. So that is the international CISV collaboration. Besides that, we are developing different packages. First package is information about volunteer management, how to recruit volunteers, how to retain volunteers, how to motivate volunteers. And we're talking here not only for CISVers, but also other organizations working with volunteers and working with youth. The main of the project is to educate still youth, is still educating youth. So the volunteer management is one aspect. The second big aspect is the self-development package, where you have self-learning zones, where you can find webinars, where you can read articles. It's like a big bibliothecary of information that user could find and read for their own development. Then we have the training package, where we are designing about 60 training and activities that you could do to train participants and user workers on different topic, going from communication to self-management to conflict and resolution. So they're ready to use training materials. And then we have the activity package, where we share information on how to handle a group, what kind of activity you can run in what kind of situation, or to reach what kind of objective. All those information, and all this information is gathered in one side in a booklet that will be printed out and distributed at the next global conference, but also on a beautiful website that is in the making, and where everyone can go and take the information they need. And when we say everyone, it's really everyone. And that means that for the project to take the space that it can take, and that it's interesting for the population to do, it's important for us that all of you and everybody invite people, for example, on the Facebook page of the Truth Project. So don't just make a like yourself or a comment, but also invite your friends to follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. Share that information with your network inside of CISV, but also outside of CISV. That's also a way to have a little bit more visibility of CISV, and I believe we all agree that CISV can have more visibility because it's worth it. There are too many kids that don't know about it and that miss their chance to go on a CISV camp, or adults that miss the opportunity. So
there was a question, there was a hand raised, but
okay.
I can't
I
find who it
Where
was.
is that hand?
So please ask your question.
I'm going to end show, that would be easier. I think it's Grit, no? See Grit moving?
Nile.
Yes. So hi, I'm from India, and just to ask a question on how can we contribute to the project, or like what would be the benefits for us to be contributing to the project, and if we try to get other volunteers, what is the information that we share of how they can be part of the project?
Okay, I guess it's a question for Mel.
Yeah, because we had the conversation already with Nilay actually. So yeah, we have lots of volunteers regarding the training sessions to gather and to create and design a new training. We have still a couple of opportunities. Actually, Milan is the coordinator for the webinars. So if anyone is interested to run a webinar about a relevant topic, just feel free to contact us. Otherwise, as you could see, there was like another part of the project, which is like activity package. And we're still looking for lots of people to help us to put like into the templates some activities. So yes, we still need a little bit of help with that to make this project an even bigger success that it already is at the minute. So yeah, thank you for asking.
Yeah, and coming back to the activity package, there are many activities that we develop for one camp, and it's not shared, and then it's a very good activity that we can reuse, and in fact it's lost in the mind of the participants of that camp. So that's really important to make that something visible. So we create a bigger and new package of activities to be used in CISV and outside of CISV. Is there another question?
No, don't know.
Is it a new question or
no?
Okay. So I think before we close, we have two actions for you. One would be a short poll, if I remember. So maybe we can start with the poll.
You want me to start a poll?
Yes, please. So just short, efficient. If you can answer the question on the scale from 1 to 5, how much has your perspective changed during this session? So 5 being the top and 1 being nothing has changed in my perspective. So yeah, I see everybody filling in the polls. Thank you very much. So 1, nothing has changed in my perspective. 2, I doubt if using what I have learned will make a difference. 3, I see theoretical potential in using what I have learned. 4, I see practical potential in using what I have learned. 5, I believe using what I have learned will increase impact. Okay, I think everybody has answered yes. So thank you very much for filling in the polls, though I think 73%, 8 people answered with 4. I see practical potential in using what I've learned. I think that was the aim also of our webinar today. And one last thing I would ask you to do is type, if you want to, your email address in the chat box if you want to receive the presentation. once we trimmed the video, we will also share the video. But the main objective of having the presentation is that I will add the link that I promised to the LinkedIn Learnings. So you will have that as well in the presentation that we will share for you. Share with you, sorry. So what I will ask you now, and before you leave, is put your email address in the chat box. And by that, I think if there are no other questions, we're happy still to take questions, but because we already ran over time, we don't want to keep you any longer. Feel free to contact us whenever you have another question, and follow us on social media so that you can see what the next topics are for the webinars, etc. Catherine?
No, it was just asking Mel if you want to announce the next webinar.
Yeah, so the next webinar will be in 10 days, so 10th of June, around 3 universal coordinated time, and will be about the power of resilience. Quite necessary in this time. So yes.
And so it will be the 10th of July and not of June.
You were behind.
We were behind. Everybody's behind. We lost 2 months, so that's why.
Yeah. Thank you for your participation to this very, very first Truth webinar. So it was an honor for you to have you on board today. And we wish you Merry Christmas.
we wish you a very nice evening, day, morning, in all the time zones.
Yeah, and enjoy the summer and keep track with CISV activities online and in your country during the coming months. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good day.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Yeah, but I stopped the recording.
I also stopped the recording. Who